The main purpose of business is to create and keep a customer. That's what I'm paid to do, and that's what you're paid to do. The purpose of this video is to show you how to do it. We stood out alone for 10 years in the body shop. We stood out alone because of our differences, our 5 sizes of one product, our use of a refill system, our not advertising, the fact that we had simple packaging. All those are being eaten away by the competitors. They're not only painting their shops green, they're trying to call them the body shops. They're not only copying our copy, they're trying to copy our product. So what's left for us? What can't they touch? It's to do with our inner differences. It's to do with our belief in our value system. It's to do with our commitment to the value system and our pursuit of the value system. And one of the main parts of our value system is how we consider and how we look after the customer. Good customer care is our top priority. When I was over in America a few months ago, I went into what is considered the top retailing store in America, a store called Nordstrom's. And I asked one of the staff, what are the reasons you could be dismissed? And she said, we can only be dismissed for 2 reasons. One is theft, but the main one is not addressing the needs of the customer. I really understood what that company's philosophy was about. At the training school, we have an excellent course on customer care called Flying High. I've never been on it. I haven't got the time to do it. So here's my 30-second course on customer care entitled Smile, Damn It, Smile. Never treat the customer as an enemy. Think of your customers as guests. Make them laugh. Try and employ a comedian on the floor, somebody that makes you laugh as well as the customers laugh. Acknowledge their presence within 30 seconds. Well, you've got to, because the course only lasts 30 seconds. Smile. Make eye contact. Smile. Engage in discussion within the first 3 minutes. Smile as you're engaging in discussion. Offer product advice where appropriate. Smile while you're doing that. Smile when the customer hands you the money. Smile and thank the customer and invite them back. And as they leave, smile. For me, customer care is not just about sales. All too often, customer care is overshadowed by the necessity to housekeep. Often in the body shop, we're thinking we're not only creating a company of spinsters, we're creating a company of housewives. They are constantly wrapping, packing, tidying up and polishing. But we forget that the golden rule is keeping the customer happy.
Being positive means being self-confident, being happy in your work, and having the ability to deal with the difficult days that crop up every now and again.
Sometimes you come in and the weather's really bad, it's freezing, you've had a heavy night or something, you come in and you think, I don't want to do this today. And you just come in and everybody sort of, that's it, 2 minutes later they've lifted you back up.
But you might be feeling really down until you get in here. And you don't know what everyone's like when you come into first in the morning. People grab you. You could be standing outside thinking it's really cold, let me in, and someone just grabs you from in here and kiss you. That's the first thing you get in the morning here, is a kiss. Then you get a cup of tea, so you can't help but feel a bit sort of happier then.
But I think that everyone really tries, they know it's such a team effort that everyone tries to be happy. And you can't help it, you come in here and you start laughing because everyone else is.
In a shop like this, because you've got so much variety in your work, it's not as if you're standing behind a till all day. You get a lot more satisfaction than if you're working at Tesco's or something.
It's obviously a job, but it doesn't seem like it at the time because you're enjoying it. And you've got to believe in what you're doing, and then it's fun all day.
If you were negative all the time, you would never sell anything.
It's very important to have a positive attitude in the shop in order to have a relaxed atmosphere around you. If you haven't got that, then obviously everybody's going to be really downhearted.
I think the first step is to identify the fact you're being negative in the first place and the second step is to deal with it. I actually use a trigger word technique, which always makes me laugh. I say the word yippee to myself, and it sounds pretty silly, and it's because it sounds so silly. Suddenly you have a smile on your face, and the world seems a happier place altogether.
Even the most serious-minded person could come into body shops and have a laugh, I think.
Customers are used to being ignored, so when they come into the body shop, it's like a breath of fresh air. They get a smile, they get a hello. It makes them feel special, and it really doesn't take that much to acknowledge a customer.
Probably the best thing to do is to smile, just let them know that I'm there.
Make them realise that you're there and that you are willing to help, and you're not going to like turn away when you see them coming towards you. Like when you go into some shops, they can see you coming and they run a mile.
You have to kind of strike the happy medium of being available, but not too pushy and too intrusive on what they're doing.
You go into some shops and you're jumped on them, and people either want to come in to buy something, or they want to look, or they don't know really what they're here for. So people need that ability to know that you're there. They can approach you if you want. It's just to break down that barrier of being a customer and a sales advisor.
People are often reluctant to ask for help, and we can make it easier for them by seeming approachable, by using effective body language. And by body language, I mean the way we stand and the way we look at people. And if you imagine it, eye contact without a smile would be pretty threatening.
They might be embarrassed because they think they're going to take up our time, they're wasting our time, or they're asking silly questions, or they're not really sure what they want, and they don't, they think we just want to sell them something, and we don't. Well, we do, but we don't want to sell. That's not the first thing that's on our mind. We want to help them, we want to answer their problem.
I think as well, when you've made contact with someone, be it just a smile, handing them a basket, or saying hello as you walk past them in the shop, that immediately puts down barriers they may have, and then given they might wander around for a bit, but they know that they can approach you because you've made a contact.
The best thing you can ever do is to greet the customer with a smile.
Well, I do like some attention. I hate it when you're absolutely pounced on, but I find that there aren't many shops now that you are. There's very few staff about, and really you have to go out and say, excuse me, could you give me a bit of help? And very often they look as though they're not very keen, but it's never the problem in body shops.
When I first go into the shop, I just want to be attentive, and when I want service, to be there.
If somebody says, can I help you, my immediate response is to say no thank you and walk out.
In some shops, there's girls standing behind the counter, nattering to each other, looking immaculate, and if you walk up to have a look, they say, do you want anything? And then they make you feel like you're being watched.
You get people who, you go in straight away, like, you feel attention. Well, you don't, you feel open, it's open in there anyway.
People give off signals when they need help. It may be a look on their face, they may be wandering around looking confused. We've got to create the opportunity so that we can approach them.
It's like a second sight almost. You can tell if somebody needs help or somebody doesn't. And you can tell if somebody wants to talk to you or somebody doesn't want to talk. It's very difficult to explain. It's almost a feeling.
Well, they look at products, pick them up, walk around, put them down, looking for something, a cleanser or something, or reading little product knowledge cards. So you generally know if they need help.
It's for you to see signs where they need help and to sort of know when to respond to that.
What you must do is get near to the customer first of all so it appears natural, and you can do that by tidying a shelf nearby. What you mustn't do is hover around the customer or approach them from behind. You can always greet them by telling them about the information that's available, the label on the product, or the location of the product information manual.
Well, you don't look at them and say, can I help you? You run up to them or grab them or anything, but you've got to let them know that you know they're there, and you've got to show them that you're interested in them. and you want them to know you're there if they need you.
I really like hats. If somebody's wearing a really nice hat, I just, if I'm walking past and make a comment about their hat and ask them where they got it from. If somebody's wearing a nice piece of jewellery, I ask them where I got it from.
When you're actually talking to a customer, your facial expressions, don't sort of look over their shoulder quickly, didn't think they're going to see it, but oh God, my break sort of thing. So, don't sort of itch your head. Look interested, look happy that you're talking to this customer, listen to them.
And quite often if you give someone a catalogue, they'll then ask you the question that they've been waiting to ask you because you've made contact with them.
Customer care is what it says, caring about the customer, caring how you approach the customer, caring for their needs. Are we addressing the needs of the disabled when they come into the shop? Are we addressing the needs of the elderly? Are we addressing the needs of a harassed mother with her squalling kids? Are we looking after the children? Are we addressing the needs of a harassed shopper arriving into our shop when it's pouring with rain? Do they know where to put the umbrella? That's what caring is about. It's not necessarily just selling.
Yeah, you can come to a rebuff situation where a customer doesn't really want to know. For instance, if you've offered a customer a catalogue, they might say, well, they've had one, or they don't want to even say anything, they'll just turn their back on you. So therefore, you've got to say, well, if you want any help, well, I'll be over here if you need me. So you've got to sort of overcome that.
If they don't want any help, if they just sort of quite bluntly say to you, no, I'm all right, or no, go away, then I think you should just say, if you need any help, just give me a shout, or I'm here, or whatever. Just so that, rather than them going away and thinking, God, I was so rude to him, I can't go and ask him now. Who can I ask? So, because generally people do need help.
It all boils down to asking the right question. You need to find out what the customer needs, not what you think they need. So don't bombard them with lots of questions which they can only answer yes or no to. You need to start with a good open question, like what is your current skincare routine? How do you normally shave? And then listen carefully, because you can be sure they'll tell you what you need to know. And if they don't, you can always ask specific questions later on.
When you try to find out more about their lifestyle, for example, if we were doing the bath section, if they wanted a bubble bath or something like that, you'd try and find out if they were kind of like an early morning shower person or if they wanted to relax. You don't necessarily dive in straight with the products. You try and find out more about them, and hopefully they'll start talking about themselves.
Be interested in them. Don't just say, we like to get to know our customers and to find out exactly what they do want, what sort of products are going to suit them. We don't just want to give them anything, we want to give them the right product. So you don't sort of ask them loads of questions and then just sort of look around while they give you the answers and then say,
This time of year you tend to ask questions like, have you turned your central heating on, and do you find that the weather's affecting you, things like that. So it changes, it's seasonal as well.
If you're asking customer-oriented questions rather than product-oriented, so if you're not trying to sell the product, you're trying to find out about the product, it usually just comes out in the conversation anyway.
I think how you ask questions, and I think it's about, you want to find out about them as people primarily. If you start hitting into products, you've shortened the relationship immediately. You're not going to find about them because they're behaving like a customer instead of behaving like a person.
I think often we find ourselves recommending our favourite product to the customer, and I think we can forget that may not be what the customer wants.
I think personal anecdotes is really good news, but just saying this is my favourite product is an irrelevant thing to say.
The important thing to do for a customer is always to listen to what they've actually got to say to you before you actually start explain or any kind of information to them, because you're going to be lost in what they really want if you're not actually listening to their needs.
Our products are pretty versatile. They do different things for different people. So you've got an individual in front of you. You need to be able to explain what the product will actually do for them as an individual.
a lot of customers that shop here are very interested in exactly what goes in. That's one of the reasons why they shop at the body shop. I think, you know, if you're taking that extra time to find out exactly what's in it, and I think it's important if someone says, has this got lanolin, and you say, I don't think so, I mean, that's not answering their question. You go and find out.
When in doubt, hold into the product information file in any case, because that's the absolute Bible in the shop. I mean, it's got so much information and it's so easily organised that you know exactly where to turn to, and it gives you all the information you need.
It's great because they can touch and they can smell and they can really feel it. I mean, a lot of cosmetic stores or cosmetic counters, whatever, it's all behind glass and it's all nice and pleasant. You can't actually get to it and try it on. I mean, with our makeup, we're all slapping things on people.
You do the personal interpreting bit, and then when if you're not sure at the end, you ask, and they don't mind that. They'd rather you went and looked in the product book, took that extra 2 minutes of looking after them and just saying, "I'll have this one. I don't know if it's right."
In the body shop, there's masses of really committed, fun staff, and you know, they're never too busy. They've always got time for you.
But it's bright and it's cheery and attractive, and I know about shop layout, and it welcomes you in. It's a good environment.
So be patient and make sure you get what you're really looking for. They're approachable.
I bought an assortment of lovely items that I couldn't resist. Number one, because the products are so great and because the salespeople are so convincing.
If they're looking for something for a gift basket and they say, oh, well, I really like the smell of this, then you'd say, oh, well, you know, we do other things to match because it'll look nice in a set. But you try and introduce them, but you've just got to make sure you don't look as if you're saying, oh, yes, well, we do this, and this, and you should really buy them all.
We don't pounce on them and try, oh, you've got to have this and you must have it. Nothing like that, you know. We say, we even sometimes say, oh, if you're not sure, try the small size. Now, I bet you that person will come back and if they like the product and they'll buy the larger size.
I've just had a customer here and she'd bought a lotion to go with the body shampoo. The fact that we'd got one that actually matched it, she didn't realise because she hadn't seen it on the shelf, but she was much happier to have the right one.
Now, I had a terrific trick when I used to work in a body shop in Brighton, and it was simply this. Give them two choices, the customers. Offer them a choice, which is something they can purchase, or offer them a choice of something they don't need to purchase. For example, the pineapple facial wash. When we started to sell this years ago, customers would come in and I would analyse whether I think they needed something else or not. And I would always make a decision which I felt was sensitive. They said, how do you apply this? With your fingers is the cheapest and very effective way. They had that choice, a free choice. The alternative was to buy a pineapple facial brush. They had a choice, and I think always remember that within the body shop.
You may have made some suggestions for suitable products. The customer may have tried those, and then they make an objection. It could be for a number of reasons. It may be that they can't make their mind up. It may be that they have incorrect information about the product. Or it may simply be they don't like the smell or texture. If you handle this right, it's a really useful opportunity for finding out even more about the customer's individual needs.
I think most of the people in the shop could handle it if they could. You know, they would say, well, why don't you try something else? Or, you know, what about having a makeover done? You know, if you're not sure about makeup, there's so many things you can say.
My answer to everything is you kill with kindness. You absolutely, there is no way you're ever rude to people. I mean, it just takes something away from you and doesn't add anything for anybody.
I mean, we generally do want people to be happy with the product. I mean, that's the idea of the shop, is to get people to have the right product. That's why we do so many.
First of all, you've got to acknowledge the fact that they've made an objection of some sort. You've got to listen very carefully to what they've got to say and show that you understand it. Once you've done that, you're in a position to ask them some questions, find out more about why they've made the objection, and finally, answer their objection, offer an alternative product, give them the additional information they require. But you must make sure that you do satisfy their objection before you go on.
Yes, there are various products that you can use for specific purposes. Therefore, it's for you to, with your great knowledge that you have in the body shop, to actually locate the right information and to inform them of what's best for their skin type. So, yes, they can get confused, but it's for you to dispel that for them.
Do you give them two alternatives? If it's something like a cleanser and one's something like a lotion type cleanser and one's more of a cream, they might go, oh no, I wouldn't want to use that on my skin. So then they've got their own answer, they've made their own decision.
Helping the customer make a decision is a very important part of customer care. All that work you've done beforehand, finding out their needs, spending time presenting the products to them, and satisfying any objections they may have can go to waste if you don't get this bit right. And customers do have trouble making their minds up. What you can do is You can ask the customer which of the products they prefer. You can actually point out the one which most closely meets their needs. And remember, if you offer too much choice in the early stages, they'll have even more difficulty making their mind up.
If I couldn't choose between two colours, or I wasn't sure about a product, or I wasn't sure about the price of a product, then I'd actually go and ask for assistance from a member of staff.
It's nice that they can give you advice, that if you're not sure about two products, that you can go to somebody who knows the products enough to be able to say, this will do this for you, and this is what you want.
We've already talked about how important it is for a customer to be greeted with a smile as they enter the shop in our Smile Damn It Smile course. But the impression they leave the shop with is far more important. So be sensitive to their needs. When they know what they want to buy, they want to leave very fast. Don't interrupt their sale with the telephone. Let it ring. You will be revolutionary in British retailing if you do that. Don't interrupt their sale with conversations about your latest date. You will also be revolutionary if you do that. Remember, they come in as a customer and they should leave as a friend.
Always some finishing touches you can add to make a customer's visit more enjoyable.
Obviously, the person that's on the till has to concentrate on the till. But, you know, we have someone saying, have you used this product before? The customer then feels looked after and not, you know, dumped as soon as we've made the sale. Because we actually do want them to come back again, and we do care.
That's the position the one position in the shop where you've got the opportunity to speak to every customer.
The last word.
And you've got the last word. It's like perhaps it's even your first chance to make an impression, but it's definitely your last one as they walk out of the shop. So you can really sort of put in your tips there. You can talk about the resource service. That's a really good one. You know, I mean, ask them if they've used it, tell them how to use it. There's like with the aromatherapy and stuff like that. You can tell them how to use the bath oil.
One of us might say, oh, have you tried the peppermint foot lotion? Say the buying a foot file. So I might say, oh, have you tried our peppermint foot lotion? Oh, no. Oh, I might, oh, where's that, you see? And then we'll get somebody. We won't leave the till. We'll get someone to get it and bring it to her rather than her go away. And sometimes they buy another product there.
Service doesn't always end when customers leave the shop. Sometimes they return to, God forbid, complain about the products. How do you deal with that? Here are some simple do's and don'ts. Don't ever argue. Don't hide behind bland statements like, oh, it's company policy, or I have to send this down to the warehouse, or I'll let you know.
I think looking gormless is a cardinal sin.
I think the worst possible thing you can do is patronise her.
I think lying is a cardinal sin.
I think one of the worst things you can do is to stop a customer coming back by upsetting them, by not giving them what they want. I mean, even if a customer comes in and doesn't buy anything, I still think you should give them time.
So what do we do about really angry customers? Well, the answer to that is just about everything. Do listen to what they're saying. Do try and understand what they're saying. Do try and make your life easy by offering refunds immediately, exchanging the product immediately, and if you don't feel you're capable of handling it, always bring in the manager. If the manager gets involved, 20-30% of a customer's irate attitude will drop. And another great trick is lower your voice until it's almost inaudible. That also lowers their voice. This program has shown you ways in which you can provide a better service for your customers. You are the face of the body shop, far more than I am, far more than the warehouse or even the franchisees. You're in the forefront. You know the changing needs in our society far quicker than we do. You're aware that the customer wants instant information. Hopefully we're providing that. You're telling us that our customer is a mobile customer, doesn't want any of the products to break anymore. We're hopefully changing that. And we're aware too of the fact that our customer is under enormous pressure of time. And hopefully, by this program, we'll show you ways how to deal with that.
In an ideal world, if you could have the perfect shop assistant, they should be efficient, helpful, and pleasant mannered. Someone who knew what they were doing, knew what they were selling, and knew the capabilities of what they were selling, but there wasn't the hard sell, there wasn't the real pressure all the time, as if they were on a commission, you know. They basically wanted the best for their customers, really, I suppose.
I've been in retail for many years, and I always notice when there's a good customer service, and I think that can make or break a store. You have great products, but also you have really good service. The body shop staff get very close indeed to being the perfect shop assistant. I'd like to buy some shares in the company.
More than anything, we're all together realizing that shopping is now a major leisure activity. And with that comes an awesome attitude of loneliness. We're aware that loneliness is like a bleeding need in our society. And if we on the high street, we in the body shop, can offer any ways of combating that loneliness through a smile, through a gesture, through honest information, and even more smile, well, we're going where angels fear to tread on the high street.